Hey, welcome back everybody. Okay, so you had section 10.5, numbers 3 through 39, multiples of 3, and number 57. All of these problems are adding rational expressions. The denominators are not going to be the same. It's a little different from what you folks saw in the previous section. Yeah, we're going to have to make the denominators the same, and then we can do the addition just like we did before. First, number 18. We had 8y over 10 plus 2y over 5. We need to get the denominators to match. Okay, if you look at the 10 and the 5, we gotta somehow, it's just like regular adding of fractions. Multiply by 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. Okay, so that'll give us 8y over 10 plus 4y over 10. Okay, now the denominators match, so now we can add the top. Yeah, that'll give us 12y plus over 10. Sorry. We can simplify. The 12 and the 10 have a factor of 2, so if we divide, that'll give us 6 over 5. 6y over 5. We could do it a different way. Same problem. 8y over 10 plus 2y over 5. We could simplify the 8 and the 10. Both those numbers have a factor of 2. So let's simplify. That's 4 and 5. So now we have 4y over 5 plus 2y over 5. Again, the denominators match, so now we can add. That'll give 6y over 5. Same answer as the last time. So there's a bunch of ways that we could do these problems. Yeah? Okay, number 21. 4 over x plus 8 over x to the second. Okay, so we are going to try this again. We need to get the denominators to match. If you look, the first fraction, we can get it to be x squared if we just multiply by x. Top and bottom. Yeah, whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. So now we have 4x over x to the second plus 8 over x to the second. Now that the denominators match, we can combine the top. Our denominator is going to be x to the second. We have 4x plus 8 over x to the second. Now, we can simplify. We need to factor the top first. We need to try to get this into the most factored form we can. And if there's anything that left to cancel, we do so. They have a 4 in common. So if I factor out a 4 in the top, that would give me 4 parentheses x plus 2 over x to the second. There's nothing in common, so this would be our solution. Most factored form. Okay, let's try number 24. X plus y over xy to the second plus 3x plus y over x to the second y. Okay, so we could multiply this one to get the x's to be the same. We need x squared, so we should multiply top and bottom by x. Yeah, we're going to multiply the entire top. On this fraction, we need to get the y's the same. We need a y squared, so we should multiply by y. If we do that, we need to multiply the entire numerator by y as well. Okay, so now both denominators will be x to the second, y to the second. We're going to distribute the x. It has to multiply to everything in the parentheses. So that'll give us x to the second plus xy. We do the same for the second fraction. The y has to be distributed to everything in the numerator. 3xy plus y to the second. Now that the denominators match, we can combine the terms, and then we can come up with one fraction. So x squared y squared is our denominator. That'll give us x squared, 4xy, and a y squared. Okay, if we can factor the top, then we can do some canceling. Nothing? Okay, that's it then. We can't factor the top. We can only cancel factors, so there's nothing left to do. This is our solution for 24. Okay, let's try another one. Number 27. You have 2 over x minus 1 plus 2 over x plus 1. Okay, this one is a little different from the others. Okay, wait, here. Look at a problem that you've kind of done before. 1 over 3 plus 2 over 5. So this is like a fraction problem that you've added before. Now, we want the denominators to match. The idea is the same. They're two totally different denominators. We're going to take the 5 from the other fraction and multiply it to the top and bottom. That fraction is missing something that the first fraction has. So we multiply top and bottom by 3. So the idea here is the same. You're not going to multiply by plus 1. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, same there. You're not going to multiply by minus 1. So we need to, whatever we multiply to x minus 1 is what's missing. So it's just like that one. We multiplied the 3 by the 5, the denominator of the other fraction. So we should multiply the x minus 1 by x plus 1 to the numerator and denominator. Now, this fraction is missing something that the first fraction has. We should multiply by x minus 1 to the numerator and denominator. Okay, now the denominators match. The denominator, the common denominator, is x plus 1 and x minus 1. All we gotta do is distribute the top. Yeah, we're multiplying 2 parentheses x plus 1, and on the other fraction we're gonna multiply 2 to the x minus 1. Yeah, we have to multiply it out, that way we can combine terms and then we can simplify the fraction. We'll leave the bottom factored. So if we multiply it out, we can start combining terms. The two x's combine. The negative 2 and the positive 2, they cancel. So that gives us 4x over x plus 1 and x minus 1. There's no way of canceling it out. The top is already factored. This right here would be our solution. See, so yeah, it's easier if we leave the denominators factored. Yeah, the tops we have to distribute so that we can combine the terms. Yeah, that way we can figure out that it's going to be always the case. Then if there's a possibility of factoring it out at the end so that we can simplify, we do so. Okay, let's try another one. Number 30. Says x plus 4 over x plus x over x plus 4. Okay, so the idea is the same here. You cannot add on the first fraction 4 to the top and bottom. Like for example, here. Say I had 1/3. If I were to add 2 to the top and bottom, that would give me 3/5. And we know 1/3 and 3/5 aren't equal. So you cannot just add. Yeah, it has to be multiplication to the top and to the bottom. Yeah, so for this, we have to multiply the x by something that's in the denominator for the other fraction. We're going to multiply top and bottom by x plus 4. Whatever you multiply to the bottom, you have to multiply to the top. Okay, this denominator is missing something that the other denominator has. So if you look, we need to multiply numerator and denominator by x. Now the denominators match. Our denominator for both is going to be x parentheses x plus 4. If we multiply the top, that'll give us x squared. That, for the first fraction, needs to be distributed. Yeah, so x multiplies to both terms, x squared plus 4x. The 4 multiplies to both terms, 4x plus 16. Okay, now that we have the same denominator, we can combine all the terms together into one fraction. Okay, let's add them up. That'll give us 2x to the second plus 8x plus 16 all over x parentheses x plus 4. Now we need to simplify. If it's possible to factor the top, we need to do so. We need to get it in its most factored form. They have a 2 in common. We can factor out a 2. X squared plus 4x plus 8. X parentheses x plus 4. Now, can we go further? Can we factor that polynomial right there? X squared plus 4x plus 8. You can get 2 times 4, but you can't get the 4x in the middle. So, this is as far as we can go. There's nothing left to cancel. That right there is the answer. Okay. Let's try again. Number 33. Four x over x squared minus 25 plus x over x plus 5. Okay. This is a little different. I mean, we could attack it the same way that we did the last couple problems. We could take the x squared minus 25 and look at the other fraction. What is missing that they have in the second fraction? So, x squared minus 25 is missing the x plus 5. So we would multiply top and bottom by x plus 5. Same with this fraction. This denominator is missing something that the other one has. We could multiply top and bottom by x squared minus 25. Yeah. Multiply top and bottom. Now, I personally wouldn't go in this direction, but it would work. Yeah, it's just that in terms of simplifying, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So, you're going to have, yeah, here, this is what I'll do. Okay, let's start this again. We factor this x squared minus 25. They have nothing in common, but we can go to 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, we need x squared, x and x. We need a negative 25, plus 5 and minus 5. Okay, now take a look at the fractions again. Look at the denominators. We can get them to be the same. They're kind of close already. The x plus 5's match. All we got to do is multiply this other fraction by x minus 5 to the numerator and to the denominator. Now the denominators match. See, it's a little different here. Yeah, we didn't have to multiply each denominator by the other denominator. If we had factored it out, there's an easier way about going through this. Yeah, so that stays the same. We just need to distribute the x. X squared minus 5x. Now that the denominators match, we can combine the terms. Yeah. So, if we combine the numerators, that'll give us x squared minus x, and then we have x plus 5 and x minus 5. Can we go further in the numerator? they have an x in common. Can we cancel anything? This is it. There's nothing left to do. It's completely factored. There's no factors that we can cancel. This would be the answer for what we started with. Now, take a look back at where we started off at the beginning. We were going to multiply the denominator by the denominator and the other fraction. It doesn't come out this nicely. Well, it might not. Yeah, but notice how when we did this, if we had just factored the denominators, it was easy to figure out what the common denominator was. Let's try it. Let's go with what we have. I'm going to distribute the numerator. So 4x multiplies to the parentheses, the x multiplies to the parentheses. The denominators are the same, so x squared minus 25 and x plus 5. So now that we distributed, we are going to combine the terms. So x to the third plus 4x to the second minus 5x. Yeah, all I did was combine the 20 and the negative 25x. Yeah. Denominator would be, well, I can factor them. X and x, we need a negative 25, so plus 5 and minus 5. The last parentheses, let's just write it in. Okay, see, doesn't quite look like it, but if you look at the numerator, we can go further. They have an x in common. So x squared plus 4x minus 5 with the 3 parentheses. Okay, look at that polynomial there. We can go further again. 2 sets of parentheses. We need x squared. We need a negative 5 at the end. We need to choose signs so that it gives us a positive 4x in the middle. So, to get a negative 5, we go plus 5 and minus 1. That'll give us the positive 4x in the middle. And then on the bottom, we still have the 3 parentheses. Now, if you look, it's totally factored. We can start canceling stuff. The x plus 5's cancel. That'll leave us with x parentheses, x minus 1, and on the bottom, the 2 parentheses, x minus 5 and x plus 5. Notice, we ended up in the same place. It was a much more complicated though. Yeah, it would be easier if we had just done the factoring in the denominator first. Yeah, if you factor the denominator, then we just look for what would make them common. Yeah, this is the easier way to go. Okay, let's try the next one. Number 36. Three over x minus 1 plus 2 over x minus 1 squared. Okay, so again, I wouldn't multiply each denominator by the other denominator. If you look at that second fraction, really we could just separate it. X minus 1 squared, we just write it as 2 parentheses. Yeah? The exponent tells you how many times to write the base. The other fraction is still 3 over x minus 1. Now, all we gotta do is figure out what should we multiply by to get the denominators to match. That first fraction is just missing an extra x minus 1. Now the denominators are the same. Yeah? We can distribute the top over x minus 1, and then we can start combining the terms. So that'll give us 3x minus 1. Okay. There's no way to factor the top. We can't cancel because there's no common factor. It's just 3x minus 1. So this would be our solution. Okay. Next one. Number 39. 3x over 4x minus 20 and 9x over 6x minus 30. Okay, so like I said, we shouldn't just multiply the denominator by the other denominator. We can make this simpler. If we factor each denominator, then we might have an easier time figuring out what to multiply by. So let's do that. The first denominator, they have a 4 in common. X minus 5. If we look at the second fraction, they have a 6 in common. Okay, so they have a common x minus 5. All we gotta do is figure out how to get the 4 and the 6 to match. If we multiply the 4 by 3, that'll give us 12. So we can change to become 12. So the same with the 6. We should multiply top and bottom by 2. Okay. So our denominators are going to be 12 parentheses x minus 5. That'll give us 9x. If we multiply that one, it gives us 18x. So now we can combine. That'll give us 27x over 12 parentheses x minus 5. Can we go further? Yes, the 27 and the 12. Both of them are divisible by 3. That'll give us 4. That's 9. So our answer then, 9x over 4 parentheses x minus 5. Okay. One more. Number 57. Says, sorry, it said B. I'm going to change it to x. 3 minus x over x minus 7 plus 2x over 2x minus 5 over 7 minus x. Okay, so it's kind of the same. Yeah, we could do it where we take one denominator and multiply it by the other denominator. Yeah, so multiply this one by 7 minus x, top and bottom. We would take this fraction, multiply by the other denominator, x minus 7. Yeah. Now, we take the x minus 7 and we'd have to distribute completely. So, here, I think we should do it a different way. Let me write the problem again. See how x minus 7 is kind of the same as 7 minus x? All we gotta do is change the signs, really. If we can get it to be a negative 7 and a positive x, then the denominators match. So, in order to change the sign, I'm just going to multiply by negative 1. That'll completely change it so that it becomes x minus 7. And yeah, I could change the x minus 7 to 7 minus x, but I want it in descending order. That's just me, personal preference. If I multiply by negative 1, it'll get the x to become positive. So, I want x minus 7. Again, that's just personal preference. I multiply top and bottom by negative 1. The 3 minus x will stay the same. Now that the denominators match, I can just combine the terms. Negative 3x plus 8 over x minus 7. We can't factor the top. There are no factors that we can cancel. This right there would be our answer. Now, let's look at how we were going to do it initially. In order to do this, we need to distribute the top. So the 7 multiplies to everything. Yeah, our denominator will stay the same. 7 minus x and x minus 7 for both. Okay. Distribute the 7, so that would be 21 minus 7x. Distribute the negative x, so the negative 3x plus x to the second. We'll do it again for the second fraction. The 2x multiplies to both terms in the second parentheses. So 2x squared minus 14x. Distribute the negative 5, so minus 5x plus 35. Okay, notice already how much simpler it was if we just try and get the denominators to match without just multiplying by the opposite denominator. Okay, let's see if this works. We're going to take what we have here. We're going to combine the numerators. Yeah, the denominators match, so we can do that. Let's see. 3x to the second, negative 7, negative 3, negative 14, that's 24, 29, negative 29x, and then the 35 and the 21, 35, 45, 55, 56, over the two sets of parentheses, 7 minus x, x minus 7. Okay, now let's factor the top. They don't have anything in common, so we're going to go to two sets of parentheses. We know the bottom is still the same, 7 minus x and x minus 7. We need 3x to the second. 3x and x. We need a positive 56 at the end. We know it's positive, so the signs have got to be the same. So, let's see. It's going to be minus and minus. We need a 56 at the end. Keep in mind, we need a negative 29 in the middle. 8 and 7. That's 56. Negative 8x. That's a 21. 8 and 21 is negative 29. Okay, there you go. So, the x minus 7's cancel, leaving us with 3x minus 8 over 7 minus x. Now, notice, denominators don't quite match, but again, if you multiply by negative 1 right there, then we do it to the numerator, the signs will change completely and they match. So see, we can have both answers and that's fine, it's just a matter of how you attacked it. Yeah, but notice it's so much easier if we just did it this way. Yeah, just multiply by negative 1, change the sign, and then we just combine the term. Okay, hope to help. We'll see you folks in the next one.